make sure you're right in an argument. My 3-step strategy will guarantee that you will win every argument you encounter. Who am I kidding? This ain't gonna guarantee anything. Cause spoiler alert, there is no way to know for sure that you are right.
I don't like that at all.
Alright, I guess we can end that video there, huh? Nah, you know I have more to say on that. Seriously though, there's no way to know for sure whether you are right. And because there's no way to know for sure, that means we need to have intellectual humility. So instead of looking for certainty, we need to look for strength of evidence. So how do you ensure that the evidence is on your side? Great question! Number 1, check multiple sources. One newspaper source, one meme, one post from a friend? That ain't gonna cut it. That is very weak evidence. As an example, I was once reading a book by a guy named Joel Salatin because, well, I'm kind of a hobbyist farmer. And he said back in the 1980s, all these farmers all across the nation and the government were saying that you should feed your cows carrion. And for those of you who don't know, because I didn't know, carrion is the decaying flesh of dead animals. So Salatin was insisting that the government said that everybody needed to feed their cows carrion. It is appalling! When I first read that, I did one of these. No, that's not right. That just didn't seem right to me. But I wanted to make sure that I was right, so I went on the internet and did some research. I searched blog posts, newspaper articles, scientific journals. I searched far and wide for any source that would say that the government mandated that farmers should feed their animals carrion. And you know what I found? Nothing. Seriously, nothing. And I searched pretty extensively, but what I did find, that back in the 1980s, there was a newspaper article. They found that the food that they were feeding cows had trace elements of carrion in it. That is extremely different than saying that the government mandated that everybody should be feeding their cows carrion. And very often when somebody posts something inflammatory, there's often a little bit of truth in it. Just enough so it's a little bit believable. But also very often, if you were to research that article, you would find that little bit of truth is just that, just a bit of truth, and the rest is totally false. So make sure to check multiple sources and look for agreement across multiple sources. Tip number 2, purposely look for contradictory information. And what I mean is purposely look for information that contradicts your opinion. And that's really hard to do, but we really need to do it. Because if we fail to see somebody else's argument, we are missing the big picture. And we are shortchanging our thought process. And how can we ever possibly come to know the full truth if we refuse to look at both sides of an argument? And by the way, it takes a great deal of humility and a great deal of intellect to choose to believe as you do after seeing both sides of the argument. So you want to show people you're smart? You want to show people you're informed? Know both sides of the argument. And I don't mean a straw man version of the other side. Really see what their arguments are about. I remember when I was in high school, I did speech and debate. And by the way, I was pretty good at it. I had a mind that was really good at framing arguments, and I wasn't shy to get in front of a crowd. Surprise, surprise. I was beginning to be a rising star, let me tell you. And after several months of doing that, I told somebody that I went to church with. And this individual told me that I ought to quit speech and debate now. And he said to me that no respecting man of faith should ever investigate both sides of an argument. For you might be seduced into believing something that is false. Really? No, you want to know what's more dangerous? Choosing to only see one side of an argument. In this polarized world that we live in right now, that's exactly why that happened, because people are refusing to see the other side of the argument. And being young and naive, I believed him, so I quit. One of the most unfortunate mistakes of my life, but not because I would have been really good at speech and debate, but because that exercise of forcing you to argue both sides develops that kind of intellectual humility and helps to free your mind from confirmation bias. Tip number 3, remain open to the possibility that you're still wrong. So at this point, we have checked multiple sources, we have purposely looked for contradictory information, and say after doing that, we still firmly believe that we are right. Great! You're in a much better position than somebody who didn't do all that. But it's still possible that we could be wrong. Despite purposely looking at contradictory evidence, we might still be engaging in confirmation bias. And let me say something that's probably controversial. Knowledge is a strong belief that is accompanied by a feeling of certainty. We can't really know anything for sure. Certainty is an illusion. So what is our best proxy for certainty? Evidence. Lots of it. The kind of evidence that grows bigger and bigger over time. The kind of evidence that can be found from multiple diverse sources. And if you want to learn more about how to weigh evidence, see the video linked in the description. So remember, when you are trying to validate the source of information, check multiple sources. Specifically look for information that contradicts your own opinion. And always remain open to the possibility that you're wrong. And by the way, it's not just about being right. It's about being human. It's the decent thing to do. Nobody wins friends by calling those who oppose them idiots. And if you do that, you're a big fat idiot. Boy, I'm gonna mess you up! Just kidding. So until next time, hey mister, your boomer's showing.